The other day, I was driving in the city when I almost got into a car crash. I had to slam on my brakes as a driver pulled out from a side street, but luckily I managed to stop in time. My initial reaction should have been to be angry at the other driver, but I quickly realized that what had happened wasn't entirely his fault. You see, I was coming down this main road here, and he was turning from this side street here. The problem on these streets is that you can't see adequately down them due to parked cars, and so you have to pull onto the street in order to determine if it's safe to turn. That in itself is not safe and is poorly designed. I started to realize that many streets around me were designed that way, with cars jamming up all the street parking spaces and making the narrow streets even more narrow than before. It inherently creates a dangerous environment, not just for cars, but for pedestrians who want to cross the street. In order to see if it's safe to cross, they also have to step into the street and stick their heads out past the parked cars. The difference here is that if they walk into the street due to not seeing a car, the results will be devastating and possibly deadly. Here's an excellent picture of the problem in action. This cyclist has to pull into the intersection in order to see if any cars are coming, and one is. This involves putting herself at risk just to see if it's safe to cross, as the oncoming car could easily lose focus and swerve into her. This sort of environment where cars jam up the sides of the street also lessens the driver's ability to focus on their surroundings. They constantly have to worry about something or someone emerging from behind one of the parked cars, and some people just aren't able to focus that well. This creates an unnecessarily tense situation when traversing these landscapes. Look at this. There's no wonder that people are so terrified of parallel parking. But what about any time someone has to come out of a side street or an alleyway? Unless they have a spotter outside their car, they basically have to pull into the street blindly before they can see if it's safe to turn. It's simply lazy and unsafe street design. And don't even get me started on what happens in the winter when it snows heavily and makes the street even narrower than this. Combined with that, you have cars getting stuck in the snow and snowbanks obstructing your vision even further. Just the thought of navigating those circumstances when I lived on a street like this gave me nightmares. Damage and crashes in these environments are considerably more likely and have many more potential causal factors than many other areas. You could get bumped into by someone struggling to parallel park. You could have someone hit you while pulling out. The possibilities are endless. So then, why isn't something done about this? You could, of course, propose broader solutions like lessening parking availability on streets, but this is America where you need a car to do anything. The funny part about this street in particular is that it's in a city that has plenty of amenities within walkable distance, yet everyone still needs to own a car and jam it like sardines on this road. No, the smart solution is clearly to put up signs that say you can't park so close to an intersection so people can see better. Oh, wait. People don't follow street signs very often either. Well, if there's one thing you learn in human psychology, sometimes to achieve the results you want, you have to force them. This is why speed bumps are a valuable example of traffic calming rather than putting up more signs. In this case, we also have to force people to stop parking like this. This is an example of the concept at work. It's not a perfect example, but it's much better than the previous ones. You can see that the curb juts outward, forcing cars to stop parking farther back from the intersection, as well as giving pedestrians a curb they can stand on to check if the road is safe to cross, rather than having to stand in the street. Solutions like these are vital to improving the safety of our roads, not just for pedestrians and cyclists, but even for cars as well. In my time driving on this stretch of road, I've actually witnessed multiple accidents due to people pulling out when they shouldn't have. Instead of adding numbers to our crash tally, why not do something to fix it? You might lose a few parking spaces here and there, but people's lives are worth more than a parking space.